Today was so much fun for you. Just put that on there.
Yeah.
You did sit, I'm not kidding. You did sit well.
Yeah.
When you told me, because I don't know you that well, when you said you were going to get this thing wrapping around your kneecap, I was like, this could turn. This is on video. Like, this could turn into not good. Because if you start getting all fucking weird on me and squirming and shit, then I've got this crooked ass tattoo. It's all on film. I was just praying. I'm like, please don't be a pussy. And you were like smiling the whole time, man. You were chilling.
I love getting tattoos.
Shit's about to go down.
I'm feeling something in my spirit.
Chats and Tats with Aaron Della Vedova.
I am super excited to announce that we are now sponsored by Sullen Clothing. And I also wanted to add, if you're a tattoo artist out there who is interested in maybe doing a collaboration with these guys, they're always looking for new talent, new ideas. Feel free to hit them up at design@sullenclothing.com. Jeremy, Sullen, all the boys over there, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Chats and Tats with me, your host, Aaron Della Vedova. Today, it's a different one for me today. Our guest today is a lot of things, but he's probably most known for being the winning contestant on The Bachelorette, season 18, I believe. But he's also a bunch of other stuff. It's definitely something I was like, But more I got to know about this guy, the more I was like, yeah, I want to meet this guy. I want to hear his story. What makes him tick? He's also a fan of tattoos, got a lot of tattoos. We're going to be doing a tattoo on him today on the show. So that works as well. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest to you guys today, Nate Olukoya.
Olukoya, you got it.
I said
right
it a little
there.
slow, but I got it right.
It's right there. Yep, that's it.
Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
This is awesome. You
know, I don't want to seem disrespectful because in a way, I'm kind of expressing to you and to people listening to the show that, and I'll just be upfront. I don't watch reality TV. I saw the first episode.
I never watched
The
it
Bachelor when it first, because my wife was like, "We're watching this," and I did it just to hang with her.
Yeah.
It's not my thing, and it's okay if it is people's things. But I guess there's just a part of me that's, I wonder about the people that are not addicted, but the people that find that to be their main source of entertainment. I'm always questioning those people. Man, you must not have a lot going on.
The lives of other people.
If you're living through. And I know that's not completely true because the reality is I have a couple successful friends that are addicted to some reality TV and they crush it in life. So it's not, but I know a lot of other people that are, I don't know, they're not doing so great. It seems to be like a drug to them. Like some people just sit around, maybe drink too much and they're getting their escape through hundreds of hours of reality TV. So, and none of that reflects on you. You were on the show and I've heard your story. You weren't even gaming or aiming or trying. It just,
I've never watched reality TV either. I've never watched a single season of The Bachelor. I watched one season during COVID. And it was kind of just like a thing to do because there wasn't much else to do. You know what I mean? So,
But it fell in your lap.
Yeah.
I think the story I heard, you had a friend who was going to go on, but he couldn't do it because he had to take the bar. Because he's a lawyer now, and he was like, "Send it your way," and you kind of threw it out there as a ha.
Yeah, and it was a guy I just met like 24 hours earlier, and he was like, "Yo, it's going to be funny. I'm going to send them your profile." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it."
It was like a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke. Then
you got on.
Yeah,
they called you
on
up.
The show,
and I don't want to be too judgmental. I mean, if somebody asked, I doubt anyone would ask me at 51 and not looking the way you look to be on The Bachelorette, but I probably would have said, I don't know, why not? It's an experience.
It's an experience. And I said no like 12 times, but I kept on talking to friends and family, especially my mom and my stepdad. They're like, "Hey, what's the worst that can happen? Go have fun. It's an experience."
And how long does it take? The whole thing from when you got to start having the meetings to when you're, I know afterwards.
Well, it's funny. So some people, I've heard stories that some people from their first interview to like maybe be casted to like, "Hey, you're on," is like 6 months. But the funny thing with me is I was literally the last person to apply.
So you got out of all that.
Yeah, like by the time that I had my initial like fill out this form online to, "All right, your flight's here," I think it was like 14 days. It was I was the last person to apply. I think I applied on Monday night and Tuesday was the last day to do it. Yeah, it was like, and that's why I was like, they're not going to pick me anyways. I was like, I'll fill out this little application. I'm not going to go on the show.
And then once you're on there, how long is the commitment?
So the whole process, I'm trying to think. It's a pretty quick journey. It's
It doesn't cut. I didn't know that. I was thinking in my mind that you had to cut away from work and the rest of your life for like 3 months.
Oh, no, not at all.
Maybe before we get to that, because I do want to hear about this. It's such a unique idea behind that show. And not to say that it doesn't work, because what I've heard is it has worked for some.
Yeah.
But it hasn't worked for others.
Yeah.
But let's get into this. So your father's from just a little bit about your history. Your father's from Nigeria.
Yep.
Your mother's Swedish, Canadian,
Scottish,
and Scottish. Yeah. Your dad comes over in his early 20s, meets mom, has you.
Yep.
You're born and raised Canadian,
Yep.
from Winnipeg.
Manitoba.
All right. So that's where you start life, and you don't have to get too down and dirty, but obviously go through high school, then what? Off to college.
Yeah.
Where'd all that go?
So it's how I got to America. So my grade 11, I believe. Yeah, grade 11. I moved in for half the year. I left my dad's. I was living with my dad. And then I left my dad to live with my mom, who was in the country. And we spent I think I did half a year going to a high school in the country, grade 11. Finished grade 11, and my mom had met a guy from America. They got married within 3 months. Okay. And so they got married. Then he got a job offer for Microsoft in Seattle. So they were like, do you want to move to America? And I was like, heck yeah. Yes, I do. That's how. So my senior year of high school, I'm now in Washington State, and graduated high school there. Then I go off to Eastern Washington University, and that's where I graduated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with a degree in
marketing and then African American history.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're an athlete.
You're
running. I think you said track.
Yeah, running track. So I actually ran track. So I had to leave for a couple of years, and I ran track at the University of Manitoba, and then came back and was just a student at Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go there, you get your degree. Now what? You go out and get a job, and that because I think you're in Austin now, right?
Yeah. So as soon as I graduate, I kind of quite literally just throw a knife at a map, a pin at a map, and it lands near Austin. So I tell my parents, I think I want to move to Austin. It was also one of the fastest growing cities in America. So I thought there was a lot of promise there, a lot of opportunities. And so before I graduated, I bought a one-way ticket, no friends, no family, no job, no car, nothing like that. And I'm I'm just going to go figure it out in Austin. So I packed 2 suitcases. I found an apartment for $900 a month. And now I'm living in Austin. It's okay, now I got to figure out life. I got to figure out how to get a car, quickly figure out where I'm going to work. Right. Landed an amazing job. I worked for Indeed for almost 2.5, 3 years. Okay. Which Indeed.com, the job finding website. Right, yep. And I loved that job. I was really career oriented, so I was just busting my ass every day. I wanted to be the best in the office, show up first for work, be the last one to leave. Mm-hmm. Read all the sales books I could to really get, because I was already in sales. I was worked for AT&T for enough years, and then I also bartended for 3 years. So I also had some sales experience, but I was this is a great job, and I need to go crazy. I need to be the best I can be. Right. So I was at Indeed for a while, and loved every second of it. Every second of it. And then I got the whole Bachelor thing.
And that's okay. So there it is. There is that's the whole story I wanted. That's the background.
Yeah.
It leads you to this wild and different opportunity.
Yeah.
So then you do it. You're fuck it, I'll take a risk, go do this Bachelorette thing. Haha. I'm sure you weren't taking it very seriously. Probably just for the experience.
Yeah, I'll take it for experience, and I'll be open-minded, open-hearted, and just see what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And what happened was you fell in love.
Yeah.
And I can't be in her head. Michelle's head. Michelle, what was her last name?
Young.
Michelle Young's head. But from all the things I've heard and seen, she fell in love as well.
Yep.
So it's the real thing. No one's faking this shit.
Yeah.
Because I think some people who watch those shows wonder if there's scripting happening or if it's even real. And they call it reality TV. Is it real? But what I've learned from you is it's real. If it either happens or doesn't, and it really happened for you guys. And you ended up winning is a weird term.
Yeah.
But you end up winning the show, right?
Yeah.
and how that's constructed, I think, is the winner is then to become engaged and then get married, right? And the show kind of follows that story.
Yeah.
But in your case, the vibe that happened. I'm speaking for you. I'm going to let you take over.
Yeah, for sure.
Just want to summarize, but the vibe that you were getting on that feeling you had on the show, you started noticing was changing to the point where. No more. Yeah,
for sure. And the show definitely works for quite a few people. It hasn't worked for a number of people as well. I think majority of people, those relationships do end. But, you're in this kind of bubble environment, no phone, no TV, no music, no books, no all that fun stuff, right? Like you're really like you're immersed.
No work, no job, no taking out the trash.
Yeah, and you're really like immersed in this really unique environment. And so, you know, your feelings are heightened, and they're kind of like sped up for sure.
Yeah.
And so we fall in love, we get engaged, and then unfortunately, you know, we start spending time together outside the show and
Real life
yeah,
time.
real lifetime. And you know, some people it doesn't matter. You know, they're now engaged, married, have kids years and years after the show. But that just didn't happen for Michelle and I. We just I think we kind of started quickly realizing that we're not each other's forever and fairy tale ending. So the relationship ended, and you know, I'm sure she's out living her best life the same way that I am.
Right.
But you know, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I don't think anyone's shocked to maybe hear that. I mean,
Yeah,
I've been with my wife for 23 years. I've been married for 20 years.
Yeah.
And not that I'm a genius at any of this. We work on it all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You know, relationships are hard.
For
They
sure.
you never reach a place, or I haven't reached a place where it's just easy peasy,
Yeah.
no more fighting, no more arguing. We all
Yeah.
know it. No, it doesn't
Yeah.
happen. You work at it.
That
and
I don't think that's possible either.
I know it isn't.
Yeah.
And I think people who think it's possible end up getting fucked, because when it isn't, I've seen people say that, like, you know, I tattoo a lot of younger men or starting relationships, and they'll say to me, yeah, I don't know if she's the right one. I say, why? They go, well, we've been fighting a lot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so?
Yeah.
You know, I fight,
Yeah.
I fight with my wife. You know,
That's part of the
that's
relationship.
I think the idea being the right one in their head is blissful.
Yeah.
It should be blissful. And that's not the reality.
No.
But in that circumstance, they throw you into a blissful situation
Yeah.
to some degree. Like you said, like
Exactly.
no one's taking
Yeah.
out the trash. No one's stressing out about an exam. The
Exactly.
stuff that's like a firewall for relationships.
Yeah.
Because if you're dating, in the real world, you start dating a person, everyone's still got their jobs. Everyone's still got their pressures,
Yep.
their stresses. And if you're still dating that person after a few months, well, you made it through the first firewall. You
Yeah.
guys can maintain a relationship in the midst of the chaos of life.
100%.
But where the show just takes that away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that a lot of
And
the
you need
relationship.
that. And you need that in relationships. You know, like a blissful relationship to me doesn't sound like a true relationship.
Right.
Like something that, like, it's just always easy. Like, I don't think I'd like that. And I don't think the relationship would last that much long. Like, wouldn't last that long either. You know, it's just like anything else in life. Like, when you have to, like, go through things to show yourself that this matters. You know, you can't just sit on your ass and just smile all
the
day.
the bond it creates.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's the thing, is when you're with a person for a lot of years, like I've been. One of the things I cherish the most about when I look at her is, I know we've been through some shit.
Yeah,
I remember her
the growth.
hardest days,
The
and
growth.
I showed up for
Yeah.
for her. And
Yeah.
I remember my hardest days, and she showed up for me. This deepens the trust. This
Yeah.
deepens the love, right?
Yeah.
So if everything was just easy peasy, you know, it's kind of like you see that in like really wealthy kids sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, they are depressed. Why are they depressed? Well, they haven't had to. Struggle is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
you
you haven't
know?
been tested.
You haven't
if
been
you
tested,
if you live
right.
that life that you've never got through a single like point of struggle or adversity or anything like that, that's kind of a sad life, because you don't even know your own strength.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know your own worth, or like what you can get through. You know, and so when you look back at a relationship that's been through a lot, I can imagine that, you know, you do have that sense of like joy and pride and trust and love and commitment. It's like, I know I've been through some stuff with you, and here we are, we're still together, still in love, still making it work. Yeah.
Yeah, and back to our point, like the show removes that. So doesn't say you might get lucky, but I'm sure in a lot of cases it doesn't give you the true thermometer of what the relationship's really made of. So I mean, it's still rad you tried, and it happened the way it happened.
Yeah.
And like you said, she's going to do great. You're still a young man. You're going to do great.
Yeah.
You both had that experience, and you learned a lot from it. And you'll take it to your next relationship.
For sure.
So nothing bad
sure.
here.
Exactly.
Just what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, it does make me think about some stuff like, I don't know, fame in general is a funny one. You know, I am not famous. Maybe perhaps one day I might be a little bit famous as this show grows. And
Yeah.
in my little bubble as a tattoo artist for 30 years, nowadays I blend in because there's so many bomb-ass tattooers. But in my younger years, I was one of the bigger guys in
Yeah.
my arena. So I had this little bit of fan base. You know, I've given, you know, autographs at tattoo
Yeah.
conventions. But I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I've tasted it a teensy weensy little bit. Not enough for it to really muff with my head. It just wasn't enough of it. But it was enough for me to contemplate people that get fame and suddenly your phone's blowing up and everybody wants you to fly here to go on this show and talk about this. And I know in your circumstance you had to have gone through some of that. I mean, just being on the show itself. I mean, right?
For sure.
Is there a relative amount?
I mean, for me, like, I don't know. I've always kind of, it's weird. Like, I never let myself feel big about the show or like feel like I'm famous or anything like that, because at the end of the day, I've met some people who are on the show who do kind of feel famous, and for me, I don't know, I've just always understood that at the end of the day, I'm the furthest thing from. I was just on a TV show. Right. You know, I'm not like the best-selling artist or best singer, or I'm selling out shows and rapping or whatever, or like selling paintings for $1 million or anything like that. Like, I was just on the show. I was just your everyday guy from Canada at the time, living in Austin, Texas. And somebody said, "Do you want to go on the TV show?" I said, "Yeah." But at the end of the day, like the people who go on the show, some of them do become like larger than the show, but the vast majority of us, if somebody doesn't watch Bachelor, they have no idea who I am. And it's not like the entire world watches the show either, right? So I never let that get to my head. I've had cool experiences of like, hey, we need you like to fly here, and we're gonna pay you to go do this, and you know, people stop me to take pictures. But again, when people stop me to take pictures, there's like the other day I was at the airport with a couple of guys who were also on the show, and there was a group of girls who were like, hey, can we get a picture with you guys? And everybody's looking at us like, who are those guys? Like, what are these NBA players? Are they football players? Like, it's just because those girls watch the show. But the vast majority of Americans and people that, you know, just the world have no clue who we are, right? So I never let that get to my head, and I know that at the end of the day, like, I live quite a normal everyday life. Like, you know, famous people, they usually live in large, or like, you know, they're doing their thing, and I'm kind of just your everyday guy. So I never let that get to my head, and that's why, like, if somebody wants to ask for a picture, I'm not going to say no. You know, you like the show, you're a fan, but I never associated the whole fame thing. Like, I've seen a couple guys go on the show and it really got to their head. They're like, they think they're like the top shit, like they're the hot shit, like I'm so and so, and I always kind of like keep my comments to myself, but I was like, that's just not me. Like, I know the reality of it. I was just, you know, a buddy of mine couldn't go on the show, so he sent them my profile. Like, it's not like I really did anything. I haven't done anything to like deserve to feel famous. You know, I'm just a guy on a TV show. You know.
Hey,
so,
I mean, I'm glad you know. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, to connect your identity to anything.
Yeah, you get lost in the sauce, and then it all dies down because it's already been like almost a year and a half. Like, people are forgetting about the season 2, right? Unless you're like a hardcore fan, you're going to remember like who Michelle chose to get engaged to. But at the end of the day, like, it's going to go away, and I knew that from day one. Like, this is not going to last forever. You know what I mean? It's not like the show's paying my bills or anything like that. So,
do you get money from the show?
No.
It's just they pay you to be on it while you're there. No. Oh, you don't get paid nothing.
You don't get paid. Yeah, You're just a normal dude who just goes on this
That's interesting.
this experience.
I would think they'd have to pay you something.
Yeah,
I guess they don't.
They don't pay you. They pay the lead. The lead gets paid, but no, not the contestants. No, we just kind of just do it.
Right on, and nothing for winning the show.
Nope.
Huh.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't even know how that works, but that's interesting. Well, that's smart of you. I mean, it sounds like you got a good head on your shoulders to know what the reality of the situation was, not let it go to your head, and then that could fuck with you.
And that's got to mess with your head. Like,
have you seen that with any of these other people that you were made friends with? You mentioned you had a couple guys, or you don't have to name names, but
I don't know if I've seen it, because I'm not sure. Like, with those particular individuals, it's not like we're necessarily the closest, or I've really had deep conversations with that. But the people who I kind of surround myself with from the show, like, we all understand. Like, we are not famous. If you watch the show, great, you know who we are. Right. But we all live pretty normal lives. Right. Yeah. And we don't really let that stuff get to our head. You know, like, we stand in. I remember there's a buddy of mine that was on the show, and then there was a friend of mine who wasn't on the show, and at the time, you know, like, the show had just come out, so I'm a little bit more and more people are recognizing me because it's actually on TV right now. And they're like, man, just go to the top front of the line. Like, just talk to security. They gotta let you know. Just tell them who you are, what you're. I'm like, I'm going to stay right here in line and I'll wait just like the rest of the people. I'm not going to be like, hey, like, do you know who I am? Like, that's insane. Like, I'll just wait in line and we'll get into the club.
Bouncers hate that shit.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I used to bounce too. Back in college, I bounced for like 6 months.
How many
like,
people said that shit to
do you know who I am? I'm like, I have no clue. You know what I mean?
And even if I did, I'm going to deny knowing it now that you asked me.
Exactly. So,
well, that's good. Yeah, I kind of had to get through that with you because I didn't know where you stood on all that and how, you know, if it messed with you at all. I mean, there's that part of it. Then there's also, and maybe the show's been done for a while now. It's probably less of this, but obviously when you win it, all your social media, all the people are commenting, congratulations, we love you, Nate, or whatever they say, or we think so and so, we think you're wrong for her.
Yeah,
and then the breakup. How much of that chatter makes it through your phone to your ear holes?
Oh man, way too much. Way too much.
Because I would have to.
Yeah.
People say just don't read it. I'm
No,
it's
it's hard not to. It's hard not to read it. Like, especially the hate. Like, I don't. It's funny. Like, I remember. I don't know if somebody told me this or if I read it in a book, if it was a quote, but it's like, you know, I think it's most people, you always remember the mean things, right? Mm. Like, you've gotten 1,000 compliments your entire life, but you always remember the bad ones, right? And it's weird that, like, humans are hardwired that way. Like, I still remember, I have really long eyelashes, and now that I'm older, I love my eyelashes. But I remember there's this one girl in, like, grade 5 who said I had girl eyelashes, and I was so hurt by that. And it's like, I don't remember any other compliment I got my whole childhood, but I do remember this one girl who said I had girl eyelashes and it made me feel weird. I was like, fuck you. Like, you know, but it's weird. Like, so there's a ton of hate that came from the show for sure. Like, a ton of hate. And
was the first round of hate the fact you won it?
Oh no! Like, from the second I walked out of the car, like, some people just looked at me and like, oh, this guy's a fuck boy. He's not here for the right reasons.
There was hate right from the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning,
all the way through.
And then obviously after the breakup, that's where it was like just lit on fire. So that stuff is like a ton of that, and you just remember all of that, or you know, you dwell on it. It's hard not to read the comments or the DMs, but. Thank God for that block button. You know?
You eventually learned just to stay out of there.
just block these people, you know, delete comments, block the user, stuff like that. So
yeah, that's something we were talking about before the show started. This you know, it's hard out there. I mean, you're a grown man, so am I. I got 2 daughters at home, and God, they're attached to that thing, and every comment from everybody they go to school with, they read it, and I don't know. My kids are doing fine, but you know, as a person who grew up without that stuff, I do have my concerns about how it could long-term impact their mental self-esteem, self-love, things like this.
I could not imagine getting bullied. Excuse me. In like nowadays as a kid, like, because it sounds kind of weird, but I do kind of believe that bullying kind of builds character. But that's when I was growing up, when it was just like, you know, it's just the guy who pushes you in the middle of the hall or slaps your books down or calls you names and stuff like that. But like nowadays, I have a 16-year-old sister, and you know, she would tell me about like stories of like her being bullied or other kids that she knows getting bullied, and it's on a whole nother level. It's on TikTok, it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter, and it's like, for us, it was just in the school grounds, right? It's just that small little group of people, but now it's elevated. Like, I couldn't imagine.
Well, it doesn't stop. Like we were saying, I was saying that to you earlier. You know, in our day, you might have problems at school that day, but you got to walk home and it was shut your front door and it was over.
It was over.
You got to recover and go attack the next day.
Now it's on your phone.
Oh, it never ends. It never ever stops for these kids. But anyway, you even you know, as a grown man were affected by it, you know, and I have been too. You know, I'm on social media and I've gotten negative comments about something I've done or said or work I've done. Oh, I've seen better tattoos. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, ow, and you know, I'm like eating dinner, and my wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm just not having a good night." Then I have to snap out of it and be like, I don't even know who the fuck said that. Probably a robot said it. It's not even a real person.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, that's tough though. But that would be what you probably went through, was probably a barrage. I mean, people root for the people on the show like football or something. Everyone's got their player.
Oh, they got fantasy. Like, you know, how we have fantasy football, they have like fantasy bachelor drafts and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. So they're fighting for their team.
Yeah. And they got money on it.
You're gonna make a certain amount of people happy and a certain amount of people pissed.
100%.
100%. So but you learn just boom. Just don't look at it.
No, you know what? I did look at it. It was weird for me, like, especially after the breakup. It was a tough breakup, and everybody had their opinions, right? Like, so many people had their opinions from all around the world. And so during like the first maybe month after the breakup, I actually did. It was weird. Like, I hated every second of it, but it helped for some reason. I have no idea why. Maybe I'm just weird like that. But like, I would kind of go out of my way to see these negative comments while blocking people and making sure they can't comment again or DM me again and stuff like that. But I'd almost go out of my way. But it made my skin so tough. You know what I mean? I already thought I had tough skin, but after the breakup, like, you know, it's kind of just I got through it. You know what I mean? And again, going back to like, you can look at something like that as like, oh, that's unfortunate, or you can twist your thinking and be like, you know what, it was fortunate I went through that because now I've gone through that and I'm great. You know, like I'm still here.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. I'm still here. I'm still happy. I still have my family. I can still do the things I like to do. I still have my friends, whatever it is. So that's kind of something that's from some of the books that I read and stuff. That is kind of like, it's up to you whether something's unfortunate or not. It's really your decision. You know, like, it doesn't need to be unfortunate because usually the things that you don't want to happen are unfortunate. The things that you want to happen are fortunate. So nobody wants to receive a butt ton of hate. That's unfortunate. But you just twist your thinking. Like, it's up to you whether something's unfortunate or not. So I chose to, like, you know, it's fortunate that happened because I've gone through it and now I know I can get through it. And I don't think I'll be in another position where I'm getting 1,000 comments or DMs a day saying bad things.
Makes you stronger.
You know, let's say it does happen. Like, I've been through it. I know I can get through it. So it's fortunate that it happened.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't like you at work, for a guy like you, you'd be like, that's nothing, dude.
Yeah.
I've had 10,000 people hating me before. Like, I'm not worried about that one guy.
Exactly.
No, you're right. And, you know, so many things in my life I thought were bad things.
Yeah.
And with time, I realized they were good things. And some of the good things, I was sure they were great. And after 8 years, I look back and maybe it wasn't the greatest thing. Time is to decide what something means is our choice. You can decide and feel that, or you can leave it neutral. I tend to nowadays always say, we'll see. That's my new thing.
We'll see. Yeah.
People are like, that's great. Congratulations. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Oh, that's shitty. That happened to you. We'll see.
We'll see.
You know,
100%.
And really, all of it, most of it. And I'm knock on wood. I'm lucky enough not to have suffered any major, there are things I think that can happen to people that are just flat not good.
Yeah,
period.
100%. 100%.
Your children get killed in a car accident. But we're not talking about those acute events. We're just talking about life stuff, not getting the job, not getting the girl, having all these people DMing you telling you suck or you're rad. This is life stuff. And in those circumstances, I've kind of yet to find anything that wasn't ultimately good because either it taught me something or it brought me something I wanted into my life. So there's good on both sides of that coin, Yeah,
100%.
It's good to see you see it that way. That's very cool. Would you do it again?
You know what? Go on the show again. I think I'd go on the show again if I was, 100% in that, like, available and able to go through that again. And I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it again. Well, there's
two ways to look at that. If you could go back in time, knowing what you do now, would you have done it the first time? That's one way. The second way is, having done it and they ask you to do another season, would you do it again? Those are two different questions.
Yeah. If I went back in time and done it, I think I would have changed a few things. I don't think the ending would exactly be the exact same. But I don't think I would change like anything I've said, anything I did, how I carried myself, anything like that. No, I was myself the entire show. And of course it's a show, right? Like they have to condense like 2 days into 45 minutes. So there's a ton that nobody ever sees and nobody ever will see, right? But again, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So no, I don't have a problem with anything I said, did, or anything like that. I think near the end, a couple things would change, and then whether I would just do it straight up again, I don't see why I wouldn't. I would just have to, be completely healed, completely ready, completely available, things like that. But I don't think it was like I can't say it was a terrible experience. I met my brothers. I met my current roommate, who's literally my brother. Right. Only known the guy for like a year and a half. His name's Rodney Matthews. He was actually my roommate on the show, and we just immediately clicked. Now we've got a whole brotherhood that's going to last a lifetime. Cool. So great things have happened from this show. the experiences and what's come from the show, like I couldn't. It's some of the better things that have happened, right? So, I don't know why I wouldn't do it again.
Right.
You know, especially if there is a potential of me meeting another person, right? That we do connect and things like that.
Yeah. What I heard you say there is an opportunity for it to work. It
Yeah.
didn't work that time for you, but if you were single and if you were in that mode, then why not give it another go?
Exactly.
You know? It's
exactly.
That's interesting. What surprised? Let me ask you this: like, what surprised you most about the whole event? Was there anything surprising? You're like, whoa, I didn't think that's how this was done, or.
It was interesting just seeing how TV shows are made.
Right.
That was interesting with the cameras and the production and the ITMs, which like the in the moment like interviews that you take. There was a lot of like interesting aspects of like, oh, this is how you make a TV show. You know, like so there's a lot of like interest on my end. I was always talking to producers like, so what do you guys do after this? And like, how does it get edited? And after you take this clip here, like where do you send it? Stuff like that. So there's a lot of like interesting aspects of like
learning a new business.
Exactly. So that was really cool just to see that and to kind of now it's funny because whenever reality TVs do pop up on my screen or even if it's a commercial or whatever, it's like I know how they were doing that. Like, that didn't happen the way it happened. That actually happened. Like, that interview probably took place maybe even the next day.
Out of context.
Yeah, completely out of context. And it's like, so it's really cool seeing how. Yeah.
Was there a bit of that? Was there moments during the show where you're like, do they do that where they pull something you said and put it here and then place something else there to create drama? I could see you getting a little guarded there.
I'm like, shit, like, can I talk about that?
Right. Reality TV, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you about this. What do you think? I mean, what's your opinion on how these shows? There's so many of them now.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are, addicted's the word, but are huge fans of these shows.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinions on how that is it a result of our culture or does it impact our culture? I tend to think it's probably just a result of, like, I don't know. I just wonder how healthy it is when you look at a society that seems to want to watch other people live their. I mean, it's not just reality TV either.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm guilty. What am I doing on Instagram accidentally for 35 minutes?
Yeah.
You know, it seems to be a thing where people are just more and more living out life through other people's reality.
Yeah.
I guess would be the way to put it. Do you see that? These shows. That's kind of what they're catering to.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, it's there's gotta be an effect, and there's gotta be a reason as well. I don't know if it's society or whatever, but all these reality TV shows, a lot of the times, like I'm thinking about like the Kardashians or like I don't know, Selling Sunsets, whatever. But a lot of these shows are like seeing other people live this extravaganza, amazing, perfect, picturesque like life. But it's not just reality TV shows. That's social media as well. Because social media is probably the greatest tool that we've created in so many ways, but also like the worst tool, right? Because social media, you're never going to post a bad day. You're never like, it's a highlight reel, right? And I think so many times like people forget that it's a highlight reel. And then I think reality TV or all these kind of like extravagant lives that you follow, reality TV shows. It's kind of just like social media, but like in film version, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're just seeing the best of the best people living their absolute best lives. And who's going to go on Instagram one day and be like, hey, I'm depressed and life sucks, da-da-da-da-da. Like Instagram, like you go on social media as a highlight reel, right? Like if you go on
it's changing a little bit though.
Yeah, it is changing. It is.
Have you
changing
noticed that?
Bit. Yeah, I've seen more and more.
I wonder if there's a shift coming
like more being like a little bit more honest about.
I'm doing it already, man. When I'm flipping through the feed, like when I see like the guy on the yacht, I mean, I flip right past it. I'm just like, I get it, bro. You're balling out. Great, good for you. It almost like ticks me off. I'm also a little jealous because I'm not on the yacht. Fuck off.
No, 100%.
And then all of a sudden it's some guy with tears running down his face and he's telling me something real and I'm done. I stop.
Whenever, exactly. Those type of authentic videos, those are my favorite. Like on my TikTok feed, it's always like these like really deep, connecting videos of people talking about like life, like actual life. Because I'm even to blame for this. If you go on my Instagram, you think I live like this really awesome life. I'm in Cabo. I'm in Cabo. I'm in Montreal. I'm traveling this and the other. But that's just on my Instagram. If you see like everything in between those photos, I'm walking my dog, I'm upset about this, or I'm helping a friend here, a friend is helping me, I'm, upset about family or whatever it is, life. I'm trying to figure out my next step. I'm trying to like accomplish my goals, stuff like that. I'm stressed out, I'm anxious, I'm trying to like live in the moment, but it's hard because I'm thinking about what's going to happen in 6 months, and chances are that will never happen, but it's affecting me in the now. And but then I hop on Instagram and I'm in Cabo, let me post a picture of me on a boat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's also natural to take a picture when you're doing something fun. I mean, it is contrived.
It's a highlight reel, and I think it affects people for sure, because especially the younger minds that, especially, I don't know, I think the younger generation is because they actually grew up with this. Like, social media didn't really come out for me, or Instagram came out my senior year of high school, so at least I had 18 years to understand that life isn't always a highlight reel. But then I don't know, I think about the younger generation of like, they were born into this like social media era and reality TV era, and all the like, my life isn't like that. Like, now you're feeling bad because I don't have the picture perfect teeth or the picture perfect skin. That's obviously a filter, but maybe they don't realize it's a filter and things like that. Like, I can see like that can't be really too good on your mental health. You know what I mean?
Well, hopefully, because they did grow up with it, they'll develop the ability to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's what I suspect.
Yeah.
Obviously, my girls are young and they're doing fine. I haven't had a moment where I could see it really crushing them. They're lucky enough to be very pretty girls, and I think they do well, I think, on social media because of their natural looks. And I don't know how to say that, but I just think there's other young kids their same age who didn't hit the DNA jackpot who it's harder for them, if you're not pretty enough, if you're not cool enough, it's how do you post that? What do I post about me? I don't look right, you know? Yeah. So time will tell, but I hope that they'll develop an ability to handle it. And I do see this authenticity movement happening, and I think the pendulum has swung pretty far the way of everyone's so fucking cool, and the only thing I'm going to put on Instagram is me at the beach, me at this. People are getting a little fed up with that, and they're getting fed up with that. I think people are seeking out. I mean, my own this show has a TikTok thing. It's funny. I don't know how many videos are on there, but clips of this, clips of that, and I think I got on there one day with almost tears in my eyes when the show first launched, and just was like, wow, man, this has been so hard. And thank everybody who signed up, subscribed, and all this. And I look at that video and I'm like, dude, I was in it, man. I think it got 10x views of any other video on the entire page.
You're showing emotion.
Yeah. It was a real moment.
That's what connects humans.
Yeah.
That's what connects humans. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Even through a phone screen.
No, and I think more of that's coming. But on that note, authenticity, maybe you could share with us what's your biggest challenge you have going on for yourself right now? We all have challenges, but what's the one that's grinding you the most? The one that gives you that anxiety, it's giving you stress, the one you're working on the hardest right now? Or maybe there's two. I don't want to make
for sure.
thing.
For me right now, it's just really trying to shift my mental. I read a lot of different like Stoics. Like Stoicism is my.
I noticed you did Ryan Holiday.
Yeah, Ryan Holiday. Like,
read some of his work.
Yeah, he's amazing. The whole Stoic philosophy is amazing. And I try to kind of reshift my brain a lot of just staying today. Like, just stay today, because I think there's a quote, Ryan Holiday, maybe Seneca, maybe Marcus Aurelius, somebody, one of these Stoic philosophers said that. Something along the lines. I'm going to butcher it right now, but like,
just get the point across.
Pretty much your imagination is like disrupting you or destroying you way more than reality. Meaning, like, you're thinking about what could happen, what's going to happen in 6 months. You're just nonstop imagining what can happen. Chances are that will never happen. But your imagination of what could happen in 6 months, usually like negative thoughts, like what if this doesn't happen? What if this falls through? What if this doesn't work out? And then all that anxious feelings is torturing you way more than what's actually going to happen in 6 months. And I that's something that I struggle with. I'm always thinking in the future, or like, okay, what if this doesn't happen though? What if this doesn't fall through? What if I don't hit this goal? What if I don't accomplish this? And then the anxiety that comes from that. And then 6 months come, and that's the least of my worries. Like, I tortured myself with this whole what if, and my imagination of what if this doesn't happen, all the negative thoughts. and it doesn't, like, the reality isn't even nearly
Dude,
as
you're-
bad
you're-
as my anxiety made it out to be. And that's something that I struggle with, and I think a lot of people struggle with. But just trying to, like, focus on, like, you know what, I'm torturing myself thinking about what's happening in 6 months when I should just be living, like, right now, because this is what I have right now, you know. And honestly, tomorrow's not promised. And, like, that's another Stoic kind of thinking way, is this whole idea of death. And I used to be terrified of death. So scared to die. I had so many bad dreams and stuff, terrified of dying. And that's, like, another thing, is, like, you are dying right now, and that kind of makes you, like, kind of be more thankful and grateful and happy right this second, because, you know, since we started this podcast, we'll call it 20 minutes ago, like, I've just died 20 minutes. It's not that I'm going to die when I'm 89 or
20
whatever.
minutes closer to your death.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. That's already passed, right? And, like, tomorrow's obviously not promised, so, like, you know, it's, like, forces you to think about, like, this is the time you have right now. Like, would you want to spend this moment thinking about the 6 months and all the anxiety and what if, or thinking about how much my best friend just pissed me off, or how much that relationship hurt me, or how much that stranger online just made me upset? If, like, you know, you're dying right now, like, we're all dying right now. We don't know when that day is. It could be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's not promised.
And
Or
if
it could
you
be,
knew
like,
it was tomorrow, would you waste time doing that?
If you knew it was tomorrow, would you, like, be sitting looking at these comments of people calling you bad names, or you know, it's like, so things like that is kind of where I'm putting my focus, because I feel like if I master that thinking, I'm setting myself for a happy rest of my life, however long that may be.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of, like, my biggest thing on my plate right now, is just not stressing out about the future.
Yeah.
You know,
You called it Stoicism does say that. So does Buddhism.
Yeah.
So does a lot of great philosophies. They sort of all circle back in some way or the other to that. And especially coming from guys like me and you. I mean, look, we happen to live in a very good place.
Yeah.
We happen to have really good lives.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to see some young man in Ukraine maybe stressing about tomorrow.
Yeah.
He actually could probably justify it and tell you, no, I'm really fucking stressed.
Yeah.
You don't understand. Like, my dad's, where he worked, is blown up.
Yep.
And now he doesn't have a job, and we might have to move to another country. My mom is sick. Like, there are moments where you could look at someone and say, yeah, man, you probably have a lot of anxiety, and I'm not going to take that from you. But it gets a little twisted when you're talking to folks like, and I don't know your entire life, but from what I can tell, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
And so am I. And when you meet those people living with anxiety, then you're getting into the weeds where it's like, whoa, let's really think about this.
Yeah.
Like,
No facts.
What's wrong?
What's
man?
really wrong
Show
right
me
now.
what's really
Yeah,
wrong, because you
yeah.
look like you're doing fine.
Yeah.
But the mind does do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the tricks. And to get to where you're talking about, I mean, that's enlightenment. I mean, I don't know if I've ever met anybody who's fully there. I've definitely met a couple people in my lifetime that seem to spend a lot more time in the moment, the present moment. Just
It's gotta be
sitting-
such an amazing feeling to, like, truly be there. You know,
and
it's
we've
tough.
all been there a little.
Yeah,
I've had
for
days
sure.
like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
or an hour where I'm just,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, tears run down your face because
Yeah.
you're just looking around and I'm looking
You're
at
loving
my
it.
wife and my kids and my home, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
dude,
yeah,
life's
yeah.
good, man.
Yeah,
you know, but
Yeah.
then suddenly it's 3 hours later and I'm
Yeah.
pissed off about an email I got.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened to the enlightenment?
Yeah,
How
exactly.
did I get back?
Yeah, quick bursts.
It's practice. You know,
Yeah.
it's like karate or anything else. You just practice, you practice, you practice, and hopefully, as time goes on, you can spend more time in the present moment. 'Cause
Yeah.
the present moment is. I mean, when I look back on my life of 51 years, how many moments did I were bad? And there were some.
Yeah.
But if I look at 51 years, I'm going to guess, but it was probably 1%, maybe less.
Yeah.
0.5% of my life were acutely bad days,
Yeah.
where real bad shit happened,
Yeah.
whether it was physical pain or emotional pain. So here I am worried about what's going to happen tomorrow when statistically tomorrow's probably going to be awesome. So why even give it any thought? You know,
100%.
it all makes so much sense when you say it out loud, but then to
100%.
do it,
to
is-
feel it mentally, like, yeah,
That's the
that's the
trick,
trick.
man.
Yeah, that's the trick.
That's I think everyone's trying to work on that one.
Yeah.
You know, that's good advice. Stoicism is awesome.
Yeah.
I recently got into Stoicism, Ryan Holiday's work,
Yeah.
and it was new to me. You know, I've always been Buddhism, Taoism, you know, Eastern.
Yeah.
But those dudes in Greece, man,
Yeah.
they had their own thing going on.
Yeah.
Really.
Powerful stuff.
It is powerful stuff. It's weird. They're coming from almost a warrior, like a really hardcore society
Yeah.
where life and death was could happen like
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah.
The shit you come up with when they could die tomorrow in a much easier way than me and you, statistically.
100%.
And I think that drove them towards truth faster, because when you know life is that precarious, you get down to brass tacks.
Yeah. I think that's why they even like came up with that sort of thinking, because they knew like you were saying, like their life was a lot different and harder than ours in a lot of different areas. And like I think I'm definitely no expert on this. I just really love like reading these books and whatnot. But I think like if you boil down Stoicism, it's just like understanding what it is that you do control and what you can't control, you know. And I think in when they're living those lives, like they had to really boil down, like I can't control the fact that there's a war going on right now. I can control how my reaction to it, or I can control what it is that I do today. And then now I love it because, you know, that was thousands of years ago. Here we are in 2023, and you can still use that to your life today. Like I can't control what happened. I can't control the traffic that I had on my way to come see you. I can control how I am when I get here, my kind of attitude when I get here. I can control, you know, you just got to focus on what you genuinely can control. You can't control if somebody leaves you. You can't control if you know, there's a storm outside and you plan to go to the beach. You can't control. You can control your emotions about it. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you going to figure out what you can do instead? And I think that's like the biggest thing that I got from kind of studying and reading Stoicism, is just understanding that I can't control that. I can't control if somebody says something mean to me. I can't control if a relationship didn't work out. I can't control if people's reactions that I don't know about me, how they feel about me, whether they like me or if they don't like me. And the number one thing is, no matter how hard I try, I can't force somebody to like me either.
Yeah.
You can't control that. You can't control those things. And it makes life almost easier when you got to separate what is in your control and what is out of your control.
And the idea of even wanting to control that stuff is, if you really think about that, it's pretty arrogant, because by saying you want to control it, you're saying you know that thing is bad or good. Yeah. For instance, the traffic getting here. Yeah. You're in traffic getting here. Maybe it's a bummer. Maybe the traffic you're in is postponing you from a head-on collision.
100%.
There's shitty weather. You wanted to go to the beach. Maybe that day, because of the shitty weather, you didn't go to the beach. Maybe that's the day where you would have tried to climb a rock and broke your neck. Yep. I mean,
you have no idea.
You have no idea. So to me, it's more, and this is more Eastern, but it's getting to that place of just non-resistance and just accepting life as it comes and assuming this is for some reason. I may not understand it right now. For whatever reason, I didn't get the job. Yeah, that's a bummer, but probably, 5 years later, look back and you'll be like, oh, now I know why I didn't get the job. If I had gotten that job, I wouldn't have gotten that job. And if I hadn't got that job, I wouldn't have married that girl. And if I hadn't married that girl, and all this big puzzle falls together, and you're like, but yet I spent like 6 months in depression.
Mad that I didn't get that job.
Depression over the thing that led me to my perfect life.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of, that's something I tell myself.
That's why life's beautiful. Because you never know when something like that happens, right? Like, it's amazing.
That's why I said earlier, we'll see.
Yeah, that's exactly. We'll see.
We'll see, man. I don't know. That looks pretty shitty, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool, man. I think we got a lot in common in that way. And I'm working on it too, and I feel like I'm getting better.
Have you read Eckhart Tolle?
Oh yeah, He was on my Bible for many years. New Earth and
Power of Now. Yeah, I've read both of them. I think New Earth, or no, Power Now kind of resonated with me a little bit more. I kind of understood it better, but I definitely got to read it again. And I feel like you've read it a few times.
Oh, I go back every couple years. I pop it on the audio.
Yeah, I gotta take that one in again, because I feel like he had some great shit to say. You know what I mean? Like some really powerful things to say. And I remember the first time I read, because I think it goes New Earth, Power Now. I think there's like an order.
Reverse, but I don't know.
Power Now, the New Earth. So I read it out of order, which I don't think is that big of a deal. But I read it out of order. But that was like 3 years ago, and I keep on telling myself I got to sit down, I got to reread it. Especially because he's kind of more Eastern, right?
Yeah. He's definitely. I mean, I don't know if he ever says he's a Buddhist, but I mean,
he quotes the Buddha a lot.
Yeah, very Eastern. Yeah, very Eastern. Yeah. No, that was that book was one of my biggest. I got about 5 books that pivoted me, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little bit, one of the things that, I don't know, I mean, his story, I wouldn't say bugs me, it's just that, his story starts with, basically, he has this, he's suicidal, he doesn't want to live, and he has like, a breakthrough from God or something. The universe just shoots a bolt of lightning through his head, and he's becomes that guy totally in an instant, you know. And so there is that part of me that's just like, lucky you.
For sure.
I've read your book 20 times, dude. I'm still working on it. Like, when is this bolt of lightning thing really happen? Yeah. And I'm sure it does, you know. And I think part of it probably was because of the fact that he was, you know, he pushed himself psychologically. When you get to the point where you'd rather end your life, you are basically gonna, if there's something in you greater than that, that's when it shows up. Yeah. It's like, this dude's about to, you know, kill himself. Bam, enlightenment shows up. Yeah. And, you know, maybe we haven't been pushed hard enough, you know, like a soldier almost, or a Navy SEAL. You're not going to know how strong you are until they almost drown you. Yeah. Then you figure out how to swim really good. Yeah. But
or you know how strong you are. Even you were saying that 1% of your 51 years is like really bad days. That's how you kind of start gauging how strong you are, because you made it through. You're right here, right? So it's like I don't know what those things were, that 1%, but obviously, you know, you made it through.
Yeah,
you know,
here now.
Yeah,
everything's fine.
Yeah, so now you know that, you know, you can be tested and you can come out on the right end, right?
Very true, man. Well, that's cool. You've got I was going to get to that question too. Like, if you had a guiding light, a guiding philosophy. I know there's more than Stoicism. Yeah. You're mentioning Eckhart Tolle, but you know, you're reading those books, and you're right. I mean, I at least every year 3 or 4 of those books moves through. I listen to them when I commute, drive the car.
Yeah, for sure.
But you can't stop reading them, because man, it's every time I go back to one of those books, I'm just
pick
like,
something up, another jewel.
Well, or the thing you used to do, now you don't do it anymore. Like, I was doing that, I forgot.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Well, I think we all need some kind of compass to get us there. For some people, it's Christianity. For some people, it's Buddhism, Stoicism, any of these things. But you got to have something, some core philosophy that guides the ship. You know,
sure.
Moral code, as it will.
Yeah.
Well, this is all good, buddy. I'm digging it, man. We got a lot in common. Tattoos.
Hell yeah.
You got a lot of tattoos. Tell me.
Got quite a bit.
I mean, what was your first tattoo?
All right, so my first tattoo. I love this story just because it's so stupid, but
I love that story.
No, for sure. And so what happened was I'm at Eastern Washington University, and they have, like, you know, the hockey house, the basketball house, the football house, all the different houses of, you know, where people different that you party at, right? Man. So this is the hockey house. No hockey players actually live there anymore. So it's kind of, I think there was a new hockey house now. This was actually just my boy's house. He moved in after the hockey players moved out. And he had a roommate who just, like, transferred over to Eastern. And long story short, he bought a tattoo gun online. Never tattooed a day in his life. And, you know, college, I'm 20, just stupid, young, drunk, partying. And I'm like, oh, shoot, give me a tattoo. Right? And I ended up paying him 3 Four Lokos. Do you remember Four Lokos? The alcoholic drink?
No.
Oh, they're so like Four Lokos are like those drinks that you should never drink. It's just 2 of those cans. Like, it's just like tall boy can, but like something about them all my most worst terrible drunk stories are because of Four Lokos in college.
Is it like a malt liquor?
It's a malt liquor in a can you buy from the gas station for like $2, but they just mess you up. Like, you should never have more than 1, honestly. And but that was just what you drank in college because you didn't have any money, right?
Cheap, and it'll get the job done.
It gets the job done, right? And I gave him 4 Four Lokos to give me a tattoo.
That was the trade.
Yeah, to give me actually a few tattoos, and they're all covered up now except for 2. So I have the Eye of Horse right here. He actually did a good job. So
that was your first tattoo?
Well, no, my first tattoo was an O here that I like. My last name starts with an O.
So on your sternum was your first tattoo.
100% it was. 100%.
Oh, I can't believe you went back after that.
No, it was a wild night, and so I actually, like, my last name starts with O, so I literally hand drew an O, thinking that looked cool, and he like put it through the whole stencil machine or whatever, and put it right on my sternum. Then he put my grandma's name underneath that. Then he put the Eye of Horus. Then he put like a little Nigerian proverb that I actually still have, and then a weird little wing here, and that. So all of that got covered up, other than the Nigerian proverb on my side and the Eye of Horus. But that's how I got my first tattoos. Immediately booked a appointment, like maybe a week later, to get it covered up. So that's where the bleeding rose. That was my cover tattoo. This wing here was a cover tattoo. Okay. So immediately covered those up. But yeah, shout out Four Loko. That's how I paid for my
Thanks,
first
guys.
tattoos.
Keeping the tattoo business alive and prospering. Yeah, hey, look, I'm not judging. I love those stories. Mm-hmm. You know, people think because I'm a I've been tattooing and I have a little bit of a name in the industry that I look down upon that, and I don't. In fact, I still, hell, a year ago I was up in Montana with I have a son actually who's 36 years old, Dustin. What's up, brother? And we go up there snowmobiling and stuff, and I bring my tattoo machine and we have some whiskey and we rip tats on each other. He did a nice cock and balls on my ankle. I'll show it to you later. It's all blown out, fucked up. People are like, you didn't cover that up? I'm like, no, I'm not covering that up. It was one of the funnest nights of my life. It was a joke. I'm like, I'm not going to look. You do whatever you want. And it was done. It was like, oh. I call it a French jellyfish.
Hey, thanks.
Because it's kind of cool. They kind of know what it is. They're like, I'm pretty sure that's a cock and balls. And the guy's like, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's a French jellyfish. And just watch them like their heads go sideways.
That's funny.
But the point is, I have a lot of really high-end tattoos from famous tattooers as well. But they're both, tattoos can be art at its highest level, which is what I made a career of doing. But they can be stamps in time, memories with friends. All of it counts. I've never been the judge of that. I actually, as I get older, kind of enjoy the funny ones even more, the memory ones, So I think that's a great story. Just throwing it out there, like with your boy, like let's do it. Yeah. And then, hey, cover. That's the other thing. Like, you can't cover that up. Yeah, you can. You can get them. You can cover them. You can do anything you want. Your body, and it's all part of your story. That's fun that you started that way. And I think you told me out there, you've only been in a professional tattoo studio twice.
I got a bunch of tattoos. I haven't counted them in a while, but I'd probably say I'm about like 17, 18, 19 tattoos. But I've only gotten two tattoos in like a legitimate tattoo shop.
All right. Well,
yeah, legitimate tattoo shop.
Today is third time's a charm.
Yeah.
Today's number 3 because you're gonna get tattooed today. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
So it's laurel leaves that we're putting around your kneecap with 94 for your birth year. Yeah. What's up with the laurel leaf? What is that for you?
For me, it kind of I got a flow going. I got like a Perseus holding the head of Medusa on my.
I figured you were gonna go here.
Yeah. I got like this really cool Japanese. It's kind of like from a mythological statue, Japanese statue on my side. I got Icarus falling from the heavens on my other side, and so like I got the hands of God. I got
a lot of Greek mythology.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I love that stuff so much, and so obviously the laurel leaves are big in Greece and Athens and ancient Rome and stuff like that, of like victory and like being successful, not only in sports but just being successul, being proud, having honor, things like that. So I already actually have the laurel leaves on my back surrounding Perseus and Medusa. But on the kneecap, again, I like things that just look cool, honestly. Like there's sometimes there's meaning, sometimes it just looks cool.
Well, there's meaning too.
Yeah, there's meaning for sure. Yeah. And these and the laurel leaves going around my knee, I think just looks awesome. Yeah. And it kind of like still flows with all the other tattoos that I got surrounding my body. And then 94, obviously, just my birth year. So I've always wanted a 94 tattoo, like always. I just never got around to it. So I'm
right on your kneecap.
Yeah, right on the kneecap. Yeah.
For everybody out there, he's going to be getting these laurel leaves going around the sides, kind of wrapping his knee. Yep. 94 right on the kneecap. Traditionally, really spicy little zones.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Having heard that you got your first tattoo on your sternum, I'm not worried about you. I'm not worried about you at all.
Yeah, I'll be all right.
I have a funny story. I wonder if I can tell this one. Oh, fuck it. I guess we can always look at the edit later.
Yeah.
My wife has no tattoos, okay? I met her that way, and I always told her, and there was a time where she was like, I think I'm going to get something, my husband's this famous tattoo guy, I should. And I was always like, look, don't get tattooed because of me. You're beautiful. I don't care if you're tattooed or not. If you want one, obviously I should probably do it. But I would always put her on my waiting list. I'm like, get on my waiting list. And she's just like, fuck you. I'm like, because I kind of knew in my heart, I'm like, you don't really want to be tattooed. Yeah. You're doing this because of your relationship with me. So I'd make her wait, and then I would, after about a few months, I'd follow up and be like, what happened with, you see what I mean? You haven't even mentioned it to me in 6 months. That shows me how much you really want to be tattooed. Fuck that, I'm not doing it. So she never ended up, we got to a point where she's like, you're right. I'm not. You're the tattooed person. I'm not. I'm like, that's great. Let's keep it that way. And now, funny enough, she owns laser tattoo removal companies. But point I'm getting at is
that's amazing.
She always is like, you fucking boys, me and my son especially, you guys think you're so tough. with your tattoos. You're not tough. I'm fucking tougher than all of you. So one night we were like, why don't you get a tattoo then? I just won't use ink. And she said, fine. Put it in the most painful place you can think of. And I was like, why don't I do it right on your sternum? So, I mean, literally in my house, we had a few drinks, and she lays back, puts her arms back like this, just spreads her tits apart. And I just take like a 7-liner and I draw a cock and balls this big between her tits.
Holy
she doesn't know that. She's writhing.
Yo.
She literally was like, God fucking, oh my God, that fucking hurts so bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
it hurts.
We're talking shit. We're talking shit. And then of course she gets up and there's just this bleeding set of nuts with and it of course it goes away, but it doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
Like we're like 3 months later, she's getting suntanned at some resort we're at, and you can still see it. And
That's hilarious.
there was a point where she's like, "Is this better go away?" I'm like, it'll go away. It took about 6 months.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
But my point to the
God.
story is the sternum. Whew,
Yeah, the
that's a fiery
sternum's
little
nuts.
spot.
Yeah, my entire sternum was done. So and I remember that one I went and got professionally done at a tattoo shop, and I just remember sitting on the chair like, I'm learning my lesson. No more tattoos in the basement of the hockey house.
Well, brings us to here today.
Yeah.
Here today. All right. Well, let's do it. Let's take a break. I'm gonna get things set up. We'll go to the other side of the room and we'll rip a sweet tat on your kneecap.
I'm excited. I'm
right,
excited, man. I'm excited.
Boom.
Let's go. That was terrible.
Boom!
Let's
That was
do
terrible.
it.
There we got it that time. All right. We'll see you guys very soon.
Awesome.
All right.
How's it looking?
Amazing. You just gotta push through. This is a blast. Love this. Again, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
All right, my friend. Raise your glass to a new tattoo.
New tattoos.
You sound like a champ.
Oh, I love
to being
it.
a badass.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Cheers
yeah.
to that.
Cheers, man. Thanks again.
That was fun.
That was great.
I said this before. I've been tattooing for 30 years, and I made a career out of these big ass sleeves and back pieces. But man, this show's been fun in every way possible. But doing just a small tattoo for someone, I miss it.
Yeah.
And today was so much fun for you. Just put that on there.
Yeah.
You did sit, I'm not kidding. You did sit well.
Yeah.
When you told me, because I don't know you that well. When you said you were going to get this thing wrapping around your kneecap, I was like, this could turn. This is on video. Like, this could turn into not good. Because if you start getting all fucking weird on me and squirming and shit, then I've got this crooked ass tattoo. It's all on film. I was just praying. I'm like, please don't be a pussy. And you were like smiling the whole time, man. You were chilling.
I love getting tattoos. I told you this is my first tattoo in like 10, 11 months, and I've just been itching to get a new tattoo. So this is perfect. I've been dying to get a new one.
You got the bug. When you say things like that,
for sure,
you're not stopping.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. I want my entire leg, my entire left leg from groin to my toes, completely blasted.
And then that's done, and the other one's gonna look weird.
Yeah, no, I want this one to be completely empty and just have this one all the way down.
I'm gonna tell you a little thing about that. People say that all the time. You know how many people I've seen actually do that?
It's probably slim.
Nobody.
It's probably slim.
Because you do want that until
and then it happens, and then you're like, okay, I need more skin. Like I want another tattoo.
Well, the other leg just starts looking weird. It'll bother you. You don't understand as humans, like we're
That's
used to seeing 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nipples, and then you'll do one side of your body, and that other side it'll grind you.
No, that's what happened to me because like I was telling you while getting tattooed, like my stepdad and my dad, they're super against tattoos. So I got my first tattoo at like 19 or something like that, and they didn't know I had tattoos till I was on the show because I was shirtless in the scene. And so
I like that while you're on The Bachelor, it's the reveal.
Right, it's a reveal. And so all of my tattoos could be covered with just a simple t-shirt. That's like, this is new, this is new, this is new. All my other tattoos, one t-shirt, they're covered.
Right.
And so but no, that's what happened. That's why I started getting like I got that leg tattoo because I was looking at myself. I'm like, I got all this upper body tattoos, nothing on my lower body.
You got to
It
balance.
It started looking funny. I was like, I need to start working on my legs. So now I got 2 tattoos on my legs. I got to keep on building.
I've seen your type before. You're going to be covered
Yeah,
before it's all said and done. Dude. Tattoos are addicting,
They're
man.
addicting.
I can't. People say that a lot casually. Our tattoos are addicting. Ha ha. Are tattoos addicting? And I'm like, yeah, they are. There's just something about once you break that seal and the joy you get from getting tattooed, you want that feeling again. It's like skydiving or something. You got to do it again.
Humans been doing it since time. There's that Explained documentary on Netflix about tattoos.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that.
I've
seen that series.
Yeah, it's only like
but there's
15-minute episodes. Yeah,
I haven't seen the tattoo portion.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. Like
check it
people
out.
have been decorating their bodies since the dawn of time.
The oldest human ever found in a block of ice in Siberia, covered in tattoos. Covered, not just a tattoo. Covered. Yeah, that's a good one that comes up for me sometimes when people talk about tattooing like a fad. I always say, well, it's kind of not a fad. Kind of been around a little bit.
I want to get one of those old school tattoos, like the stick and poker, when they're tapping it into tapping the ink. I want to like travel somewhere Eastern and get like one of those.
There's a couple different ways. The Japanese do it one way, which is
that
more,
the tap when they just tap?
No, that's going to be more Polynesian.
Okay, got you.
The island, South Pacific Islanders use a tapping technique where it's a rod with the needles on the end, another stick separate, and then tap.
Yeah.
Japanese, the needles are on the end of a rod that's controlled by the tattooer's hand.
Got you.
Yeah, I think it's called tabori.
Have you got any of those?
I had a chance to do it at a convention one year, and I was working, and I did it. I regret it to this day. There was a famous Japanese guy there. No, I haven't.
No. Yeah.
But there's lots more folks doing it.
Yeah.
But not even Japanese dudes, just regular dudes that are doing it. But that would be cool. I probably will before it's all said and done. In fact, mental notes to my people over here. Let's make a note of that. We need to get a tabori tattooer on here. That'd be cool. And I'll get tattooed.
Have me as a second guest.
Yeah, have you on with me. We'll both get tattooed.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it's been a pleasure meeting you, learning about your life with everything. But I was actually curious to meet somebody who'd done one of them shows. Because you see them all the time, all these different shows. And you're like, what is that really like from the inside out? And, you gave us a taste of that. I appreciate that.
No, most definitely.
And what's next for you, Nate? I mean, what are you up to? What's the goals? Where are you headed?
Yeah, next it's always an adventure. I'm kind of I'm open to pretty much anything life throws at me. But currently I'm modeling, so I got signed to a model agency. I actually fly.
He's a male model, people. Zoolander over here.
I fly to Toronto actually for 2 shoots at the end of this month, so that's exciting. And then I'm working on my real estate license because I feel like that could be so. I'm kind of starting to miss sales a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I love just like the grind of sales, like hitting your quota, getting your bonuses, like all that fun stuff. So I'm starting to miss sales a little bit, and I've had a few people tell me that I should really look into real estate. So it's get my license, work on it, and let's kind of see what happens there as well. So I'm getting my license in real estate, modeling. And kind of just seeing whatever
maybe
else.
Some acting.
Yeah, maybe some acting.
Yeah.
If they ever need a 6'8" light-skinned guy for a show, holla at me.
That's true.
Right?
You said that earlier. Like, there's not a lot of roles, but when there is one.
Yeah. And I also writing. I'm like a huge reader. I used to write a little bit more when I was younger. But I was talking to my little sister a couple weeks ago, and we want to write a children's book together. So her and I might be working on that too. That'd be cool to write a children's book. Yeah.
Well, you got a bright future ahead of you, buddy. I know you're going places. I expect to see you on some radical ads as a super sexy model. I also probably will see you in some kind of a show someday or a movie. You got the look, dude. I can see it.
Yeah, that'd be
you
awesome.
could be the bad guy.
Right.
Yeah, because you're so happy. I think the opposite for you.
Right.
You get that happy, sadistic thing going on. Work on that. I look forward to seeing what you do with all of it, man. And, you love tattoos. Keep us in mind. We're always down
Most
here.
Definitely.
And let's have one last toast.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Thanks again. Really a pleasure. Like this, I've told all my friends and family, like this podcast, the idea, Chats and Tats, the name, everything. Like this is so cool.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys keep on blowing up. This is awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers.
All right, buddy. Well, that's it for today, my friends. Please stay tuned next week. Well, I always try to do this, and then I realize as I'm speaking, they're not going to see this till next week.
Till next week, right?
I feel like I'm on a live program.
Right.
I feel like I'm on a live program. Every Wednesday they drop YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Check it out. Everybody who's been supporting me, subscribing, commenting, all the things, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Later.